Thanks to everyone who checked out SwitchUp Extra, our new little channel where we sit around playing games and giving our uncensored first impression. That seems to have gone down well. Initially, it wasn't like that. It was just gameplay, and the feedback from all of you was that it was really boring. And you know what? You were probably right, to be honest. So it's more like a podcast. It's like 30 minutes to an hour of us sometimes chatting about the game we're playing and saying our initial takes, but then also talking about bigger gaming topics around it. So yeah, go check out SwitchUp Extra if you're interested. But we are still going to look at the best sales this week. It's really nice to see a few games that have never had sales, and also one that has a free Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade. And we do, of course, still have our 5% discount on your eShop credit. You get it in cash back over at switchup.gg. Congrats to the winner of our free game. Your name's on the screen. What are the best games this week? Well, let's find out. Kicking off then, we've got that game, it's High on Life. You'll also notice that I am having to use the original style and format because my website, or our website, switchupdeals.com, some of these games just aren't showing. We've got a few bugs and quirks to sort out. It had a free Nintendo Switch 2 edition upgrade, so you can play it on either system. I will say with the Switch 2 upgrade, it is a much cleaner experience. I covered it in my all patched up video, so yeah, if you didn't catch that one, it's worth checking out because they did so much. Now, as a game, you're looking at a first-person shooter where you take on the role of a bounty hunter within this very tongue-in-cheek universe. It also includes the High on Knife DLC. You basically got a talking pistol that comes around with you. He's a bit of a pain in the butt, but if you know publisher Squanch Games, then you kind of know what to expect. Crow Country. Now, Glen reviewed this. You're looking at something very akin to old school survival horror games. I think this one's set in like an abandoned fun fair, and it's very creepy. Now, he loved it. There are a few things he didn't like so much, a couple of gameplay choices that he thinks they could have improved. But in terms of its atmosphere and the overall stylings, like it almost looks like something like a Final Fantasy game, you know, like the old Final Fantasy VII with those big polygonal models, if there is such a word. Yeah, he liked this a lot, so go check out his full review. That's Crow Country, North America, 40% off until November the 3rd. Next up, you've got all of the Sniper Elite games, from Sniper Elite 2, 3, but I want to talk about 4, which is 75% off until October the 26th. You don't need to have played the other games to enjoy this one. It does feature, like the others, local LAN play, so you can join 2 switches together to play through the campaign. It's a whole lot of fun, but it's pretty tricky. But I really like the way they do things like saving. So usually on co-op games, you don't get the option to save whenever you want and then have it reboot, you know, to that exact point. But it does it really well here. It actually manages to do exactly that. And Glen and I played through. We had a right laugh. It's quite tricky, I have to say. It took us a bit of time to get into the stealthiness of it all because we hadn't played one of these in a while. But yeah, for this price, yeah, it's decent. It's also on sale in all regions. It's 75% off until October the 26th. Sometimes you get those games, don't you, from indies that are just standalone. They are so good, they stand out amongst a very busy field. And Hyperlight Drifter Special Edition is one of those games. It was developed by Heart Machine. It does have 1 or 2 player. It runs at 60 FPS, and it's set within this massive, ruined, almost techno world. And it's actually a proper action adventure RPG that stylized itself on classic 16-bit games, but on a much bigger scale. This remastered edition looks brilliant. As I say, it runs great, and it doesn't go on sale very often either. It holds a Metacritic score of 88% for what that's worth, but if you're looking for an experience that's going to last you around about 10 to 15 hours, or if you're a completionist, about 30, I think most people that have played Hyperlight Drifter are going to tell you how good it is. That sale goes on until November the 3rd. It's also really nice to see Vigil the Longest Night get an even better sale than it's had before. This is its lowest ever price. It's now £9.99 until November the 2nd. I think this game's underrated. I very much enjoyed it. I could understand the critiques, like it's a little bit clunky, but it has that something, that little special something that you get in some experiences where you can't say why you enjoyed it so much, but it made you feel like you were in a certain place, that otherness. You play as Layla and she's got many different weapon skills that you can put your efforts into learning, but it really is a skill-based experience. There are 20 boss fights, you'll lose a lot of times on them, but it's not stupidly difficult to the point where it makes you want to quit. I think it gets its difficulty quite spot on, really. Vigil the Longest Night, that sale at 50% off goes on until November the 3rd. In my top 5 games on Switch is actually Wartales. Now, you remember when it first came out, it was a complete mess. It was a disaster. But let me tell you of a glorious, glorious game. Now, I've been playing this on Nintendo Switch 2, and the performance is so much better. It's not perfect. It does still stutter every now and then, but the gameplay is so good. You basically create yourself a group of mercenaries, and you can hear the difference in my voice because I've done 150 hours in this. You create this group of mercenaries, you're put into this world, you start out with absolutely bugger all, you got nothing really, and then you move from town to town. You might come across a farm and they're like, oh, all of our sheep are getting stolen by mercenaries or whatever. And then you head out and go and try and talk to them. You could then try and fight them, or you could join them. It's one of those where it always gives you a choice, and it just gets better. You end up with this massive group of troops, but then you're having to feed them. So you might find you're running out of food, or winter comes and they're freezing cold, and your campsite is where you gradually expand your ability to hire more units. You can even, this is cool, you can even be fighting, and it's like tactical combat, turn-based combat. You could be fighting and you could take with you some chains, and you could capture someone, take them prisoner and sell them, or keep them as your prisoner and gradually win them over, and then they become one of your mercenaries, but there's always that chance that they're going to turn against you. This game's amazing. I'm sure they're putting it on sale because I think there's a sequel coming out relatively soon on PC. It comes from Shiro Games. There is a bug in it, or there's a few bugs in it. It's one of those where, you know, you could play for 4 hours and you may get a crash. You just almost certainly will. It has savings, you can save at any time. I've never lost any great progress or anything like that, but you do need to know that it's not a perfect port or, you know, a perfect version. But yeah, playing it on Switch 1, it's playable. It got loads of patches. Playing it on Switch 2 is better, but I absolutely love this game. One of my favorites. Brilliant world, really nice world building, and yeah, great. 50% off, £17.99 until October the 25th for Wartales. Now, we had Hyperlight Drifter, didn't we, just now? And that dev team actually created almost like a 3D version of that experience in their next game called Solar Ash, which has its deepest discount. It's 65% off, down to £11.89. That goes on until November the 5th, and this is really good. It runs well on Switch. It's all about high speeds, gliding and floating across the landscapes, and it has a real surrealist feel to it as you fight your way against these hideous creatures. It's a cool game, this one. I'm not sure if I prefer the old school style or if I prefer these 3D. Well, actually, no, I know exactly what I prefer, and it's Hyperlight Drifter. But I still think this is a good game that hasn't had that much attention, and it's got a real nice style to it. So yeah, if you're after something a little different, maybe you prefer your 3D adventures, it's not the longest. It's about 6 hours long, so quite a bit shorter than Hyperlight Drifter. But that's not necessarily a negative, is it? I think there's something to be said for the shorter, concise experience in today's day and age where things take hundreds of hours. But what's the point? 100 hours of mediocrity versus a short 5 to 10 hour, really enjoyable experience. Yeah, there's something to be said there, isn't there? But Solar Ash, that sale, lowest ever price, goes on until November the 5th. It still doesn't show up on the EU eShop, which is weird, but in the US, you've got a great sale on Dying Light, the definitive edition, 80% off, down to $9.99. It's so weird that they haven't managed to get that issue with the German, like it was like censorship or something like that. Not censorship, like regulations of things they were and weren't allowed to show. I can't even remember what happened. Someone will have to let us know in the comments, but it's so weird they didn't sort that out. They must have lost out on thousands, tens of thousands of sales, but I still think it's worth picking up. It's a great game. I'm yet to play the sequel on other platforms. I've heard quite good things, like reasonably good, and then there's the Beast one, isn't there, that's just come out. What's that like? But this is great because it includes a bunch of DLC. The whole thing's co-op as well, so you can play them together with a mate, and it runs and looks surprisingly good. It runs better on Switch too, but yeah, not too shabby at all. That's Dying Light Definitive Edition, 80% off until November the 5th. There was like a double pack you could get with this and something else. I can't remember what it was. Nice, we get a great sale on Railgrade this week. That's its lowest price, 69% off, cheeky, until October the 30th. This one's like a sim strategy where you're on different planets. It has a storyline that you're brought in by this company to try and help them improve their operations, and you end up going from scenario to scenario trying to figure out the way to build the best track and deliver products to the right places. The construction tools are really nice. We've had some games on Switch where controls have been a proper issue, shall we say, but here it's actually fine. I think it's like the least nerdy train sim I've ever played. Like, it really is a cool game with a strategy element draped over the top. There are 50 different missions in the single player campaign. It is nice to have that story tied to it as well, and I think it looks pretty decent. Now, this one's 3.6 gigs, so it's not going to take up too much space. But at 69% off, you could do so much worse than this, and it really is a nice chill-out game. Even though I will say chill-out is maybe specific to me because I quite enjoy the flow of these types of games. It does get a bit stressful as well. The sale goes on until October the 30th. Okay, I wanted this one to be our hidden gem, but it's only on sale in the EU region, so I'm just going to have it as an extra game, and we'll have the hidden gem afterwards. It's £5.39, which is significantly cheaper than its cheapest sale so far. That's 70% off, and it comes from Angry Mob Games. They actually created that. Do you remember that game called Brawl Out, which was like a Smash Brothers clone? I don't want to say clone, it's a bit harsh, but with indie characters that I think kind of failed. But Trinity Fusion is a side perspective trip through the multiverse that has 3 different characters. Now, it is a roguelike, so if you are over them, if they're too 10 a penny for you, then this won't be for you, but it is very addictive. I like the stylings of this one. I like the speed of it. It has that nice flow. Performance is so, like, it's okay on Switch 1, although there are a few stutters and things, but it's definitely better on Switch 2. I don't know about crashes or anything like that. I haven't had any, but yeah, do let us know in the comments. I think it had at least a couple of patches after launch, but I really do enjoy the dodging and the dashing, moving from enemy to enemy, taking things down. That sale goes on until November the 9th. The hidden gem this week, then, is called Tamarack Trail. Now, I vaguely remember seeing a few people recommend this one a while back. It currently has a 60% discount, but only until October the 22nd, and it's a pure deck-building roguelite where you're part of like a secret society tasked with defeating the big bad, and he's brought corruption to the Tamarack Trail. Now, it's a bit more interesting than that because you have to customize your own dice, choosing different sides for it to create synergies, and that then helps you to manipulate those fights. You've got 3 different character classes: the detective, the magician, and the tracker, and you'll discover game-changing artifacts that will then completely change the runs for future. It's a very cool concept, and it does work well once you've got to grips with it. Certainly an addictive one, and perhaps one that you've not heard of before. I don't know. It's getting harder and harder, that's for sure. But it's developed by Yarrow Games, and it's published by Versus Evil. VE have a very good track record for bringing gems to different platforms. They bought us Unmetal, Lil Guardsman, Faria, and yeah, Wintermore Tactics Club is a quality game, and something a bit different. That's our hidden gem for the week. So then we jump over to the Savaloy Selection, the really cheap games, the Fedcooks, the Costcos, the ones that you probably shouldn't pick up, but you're going to anyway. And sometimes they're the ones that get you before anything else. In the EU, we've got Phantom Doctrine, a decent little tactical turn-based game, and joining that is another one as well, Hard West. Both of those are stupidly cheap over here. We have a review of Hard West as well, so maybe go check that out. But yeah, for that price, 90% off, yes please. The Excellent Banner of the Maid has its cheapest as well, 80% off until November the 1st. It's like $3.39. A fun little RPG with tactical combat set within the French Revolution. So something a bit different in terms of setting, that's for sure. The excellent Jenny Leclue Detective, which I think is getting or has had a sequel. It's a really nice little adventure game, about 8 hours long. Really enjoyed that one actually. It was quite a surprise. That goes on until November the 3rd. And then a bit of a hidden gem Savaloy, I'd say, is The Almost Gone, which is set between life and death, where you're trying to figure out what led you to that place through these diorama style puzzles. It's only about 3 hours long, but it has quite an emotional element to it that I did enjoy. At 80% off, as I say, you could do a lot worse than that. It's got 5 chapters and there's like a hidden item element to it. And that is it for this week. A nice little list there, I think. Some decent games. Hopefully you found something to tickle the backlog. And as we always say, if you want to save yourself a little bit of money, you can do so over at switchup.gg, where you get 5% in cash back on any purchases you make. Do go check out our little extra channel, SwitchUp Extra. We listened to your feedback, and the feedback was basically just gameplays on their own are rubbish and a bit boring. And I mean, that's basically what people said. I'm like, yeah, you've got a good point. And the feedback was, look, if you two just sit and chat over the top of it, it's much more interesting. So that's what we're doing. We're doing these like almost not hot takes, but like uncensored takes on games. We've got one for Pokemon over there that was very honest, but sadly I had to do that one on my own, so I'm just there chatting. But I think I still managed to get my point across. Go check it out. There are links in the description, or just type SwitchUp Extra. We'd appreciate the visit. Thank you to all of you that enjoy the content, to our Patreons, our members, and as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!